Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Business Innovators Radio. This is your host, Constant Taylor. Today we have a very special guest on the show, and they are going to share some very exciting information with us. So, if you're looking to increase your personal and professional effectiveness, then you've come to the right place. Our special guest today is Evan Hackel. Evan has been speaking professionally for over 5 years. The primary content that he speaks on is teamwork, attitude as a multiplier, and engaging leadership. And that's engaging with an I. Evan has spoken both nationally and internationally and is based out of Boston. His latest book is Ingaging Leadership, and again, that's with an I, the new approach to leading that builds excellence and organizational success. Evan, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Great to have you. I'd like to jump in by asking you if you could tell the listeners a little bit about your business, your speaking business, what you do, and how you help others.
Sure. My goal in my speaking business is to help organizations take their organization to a new level. And my speeches are designed specifically to help organizations with their particular needs. So what I do with clients is I talk to them about what the issues that they are facing. And a lot of my clients talk to me and say, you know, if we could work together better as a team, that we have issues with communication, we have issues with people not doing everything that they need to do. I have a great keynote where I talk to people about the importance of teamwork. I play in a really cool interactive game that demonstrates what happens when people work together versus not work together. And then we engage in conversation about how the organization can be a better team. Attitude is a huge issue. I'm a big believer in positive attitude and the importance of creating an environment of positive attitude, not just within yourself as a person, but within the whole organization. So in that speech, I work with the audience in helping people create for themselves a much better positive attitude, as well as how they can create a more positive attitude within their working environment and, for that matter, with their clients. And it's a really powerful presentation. It's probably, of all the speeches I give, it's the one I get the most, where people come up to me afterwards and say, you know, Evan, you've honestly changed my life, and I really appreciate that. And the third one is based on my book, Ingaging Leadership, and it's really about how to be an effective leader and how to engage the people that you work with, how to engage your customers, so that everyone is working together for the shared common vision and success of the organization. So those are my three primary areas that I speak on.
Okay, excellent. Now, in terms of, let's dive into attitude for a moment. That's one of those intangibles that people who have it and organizations who have it tend to be more productive, more successful, happier. But it's also one of those things that it seems like it's hard to train someone to do that. How do you work on building a positive attitude within a individual organization?
Well, I think you've hit on something here. It is incredibly difficult if somebody has a negative attitude to just say, okay, now let's flip a switch and now, you know, I'm happy.
Right.
So what I talk about is what makes people happy and what makes people have a great attitude and what people have a negative attitude. And what I have discovered through my life in business, through reading, to talking to experts, is that generally speaking, attitude and how people look at the world are caused by filters. So certain people look at the world through this filter of everything is wrong, everything is bad. And certain people look at the world through a filter of everything is good. And I don't, you know, when you look at the people that look at the world and they kind of, you know, stranger danger, they're taught as a kid to think, oh my God, you know, I've got to be really careful, etc. It's sort of ingrained in them. So then the question becomes, you know, how do you change your filters? How do you So if I'm speaking to someone in the audience, and these are the people that really come up to me and say, Evan, I've really changed your life. And the advice I'm about to share is hopefully something everyone who's listening is going to sit back and take and go, wow, this is like really, really powerful, is to take and make a simple habit. And every day, sit back and think to yourself, what were the 3 good things that happened to me? And what's going to happen to you by doing that very simple act is you're going to start to look at the world with a filter of what's going right. And you'll start to think during the day, oh, that's one of my 3 things. And I'm going to take this idea further, and this is something I credit my wife with, is that when we started raising our children at the dinner table, my wife would ask the kids, what are the 3 things that went right for you today? And everyone at the dinner table would share their 3 good things for the day. And it helped my kids build just great positive attitude. It helped me with my attitude. And I have worked and mentored and coached people. And just by using this simple technique of let's just talk about what went right, actually can change how you filter the world. So I'm not saying that I can take everyone who's unhappy and make them happy with this idea, but I can tell you that it will have a big impact on people's lives. And if you take the same concept and you do this to yourself, but if you do the same concept with your team, so when you have meetings are normally about what's wrong. What do we got to do? You take time at a meeting and say to people, hey, let's just talk about the last week. What went right? What are we doing right? What should we feel good about? And just that juxtaposed of taking a little time and examining the positive, not in a negative, not in a just to be positive, to be happy and positive, but just to remind people of all the good things the organization does. It changes people's thinking and how they approach things. So it is a very powerful exercise to do for yourself personally. Mm-hmm. So it's really, honestly, for me, all 3 the most fun speech I give, because it's really inspiring, and I do this demonstration of the impact that positive attitude has on other people that I can't really explain. You got to kind of see, but it's like you almost think I'm a magician.
Well,
when I get done doing it.
Well, I've got to give you credit, because a lot of people will talk about having a positive attitude, but few will actually give concrete steps on how to actually turn the tide, how to turn that ship to do it. And you just did that. And I've got a personal testimony utilizing what you just suggested. I would call my mother. Every time I called my mother, it was just one negative thing after another. She watches a lot of news, which I don't watch. So there's, this person got robbed, this person got killed, and then after 10 minutes of this, I said, Mother, I said, I want you to give me something positive, something good that happened today. And the phone was literally silent for 60 seconds of nothing, because she couldn't bring anything up. So 3 minutes go by, I said, I'm not saying another word until you tell me something positive today. And then after 3 minutes, she came up with, I'm alive. And I said, hey, that's a good start. You're breathing. And I said, what else? So, and then we went through this, and a few times on the phone after these discussions, she started to actually come up with positive things. My health is improving. I got a chance to see my granddaughter the other day. So utilizing the steps that you mentioned are very powerful for changing your attitude from negative to more positive.
But what's interesting is when I coach people on this habit, almost invariably the first thing they say is I'm alive, or I've got my health, because they are so used to filtering the world from a negative perspective, it is really hard. Mm-hmm. And after a couple of weeks, then they start opening up with all kinds of new things. But let me share a personal story, because you brought up your mother. I'll bring up my father. My father, when he was 72 years old, got diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
Fortunately, by the way, he survived it and was able to live another 13 years,
Excellent.
Which was wonderful. So my mother calls me up, and for 45 minutes, woe is me, life is bad, my God, how can I live without him? I feel so bad, he's such a good person, he doesn't deserve it, on and on and on and on and on. And after 45 minutes, I said to my mother, Mom, can I say hi to Dad? thinking that might be the nice thing to do. So my father picked up the phone and goes, "Hi, Evan, how are you? You having a good day?" I go, "Dad, I'm having a good day. How about you?" He says, "Oh, I'm having a fantastic day." And I'm thinking, "I got diagnosed with cancer. How in the world can you have a fantastic day?" And I said, "Dad, why is your day so fantastic?" He says, "Evan, for 72 years, I've been going to the doctors. And as far as I'm concerned, today it's the first time it's ever been worth going." And just think about that
right.
for a second. And he just didn't. My father has been a person. I mean, we don't have enough time. I could tell you stories and stories of things I've learned about positiveness from my father. But that was his attitude to the whole thing. He never once complained. He never once was upset. He always just said, I got to do what I got to do. And I would say my father always felt that being upset or being mad was an utter waste of time. I mean, really, honestly, that's what he taught me. And it was he was an amazing role model for me as a person. Excellent.
Well, attitude is for me personally, of the three things that you mentioned, it's the most critical and nearest dearest to my heart, because it allows me to leverage and to be a better team member, to handle teamwork better, to handle the leadership portion as well. So I'd like to move into the engaging leadership. If you could tell us, what are the components and elements of that, and how does that help your clients?
Well, let me start with the name Ingaging with an I, not an E.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started, I have a consulting business too, which is called Ingage Consulting, with an I, not an E. I thought a lot about the word engaging, and engaging is right now is a very big, very popular word. You got to engage people. You got to engage. Engaging, though, isn't really strong enough from my point of view. Like, I'm a football fan, and if I'm watching a football game, I'm really engaged. I'm watching, but I'm not involved, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not on the field playing.
Right.
And so what engaging with an I is really a combination of the word involvement and engagement. The I is for the involvement, and the rest of the word is for the engagement. So it's engaging people and involving people. Mm. So the concept that's in the books and the concept that's in my keynote is that you can take your leadership level to a higher level when you truly care about what other people think about the business, and when you solicit the people that are in your organization, the people that you lead, in terms of getting their help and their advice in all aspects of the business, but in particular in the creation of the vision of the company and the strategic direction of the company. And when you involve and engage them in that process, when you develop your solution to whatever it is, whether it is your strategic plan or an issue or a problem or whatever it is, because they were involved, they have ownership, and they will be much more engaged and much more empowered to help solve that problem. And the organization will move faster, grow faster. It will be exponential compared to an organization where top management goes in a room, sits around the table, comes up with an answer, and goes back to everybody and says, "Hey, guys, this is what we're doing." And if you think about that, "Hey, guys, this is what we're doing," kind of back to the attitude a little bit, your first impression when someone says something to you like that is, what do I know? What's the hidden agenda? Is that really a good idea or a bad idea? So you're a little fighting that. But when you're feeling like you're part of the decision, even if you don't agree with the end decision, but you felt like you're really heard, the response to that of the final direction is, great, let's all make this happen. And it's really, really impactful. And in both the keynote and in the book, I talk about the strategies of how you do this and how you make it happen, and how you can look at your organization and judge how engaged with an I people are, and how you can create this sense of teamwork and involvement with everyone, so that people are willing to stand up and I don't like the word follow, because I think that leadership isn't about who's in charge. It's about everyone working together. Mm-hmm. So let's say everyone being in lockstep might be a better term. Mm-hmm. Working together and solving times. In so many organizations, people fight against each other and doing different things. and it's dysfunctional, it's inefficient. But with engaging leadership, you remove those things because everyone's on the same page.
Excellent. Now, one of the best managers that I ever had utilize the principles of engaging leadership with an I. I have to give him credit. His name's Steve Gregerson, and he was the vice president at a multi-billion-dollar automotive manufacturer. And he had the uncanny and unique ability to engage his organization where he would solicit feedback. And he would say, "What do you think about this?" And the person would give their answer. And let's say that it was not the direction in which he was going to go. He would actually give you the answer of where the direction was going to go and incorporating your idea in there. And he would give it back to you so that you would accept it as your idea. He would had the ability to repackage it as if it was your idea.
Well, I think when you look at successful people, the people that are engaging leaders tend to rise through organizations at a much higher rate. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, by the way, people ask me, "Well, who's the book for? Is it for the CEO?" And I go, "No, the book's for anybody that wants to be a leader." So if you're the CEO, great. If you're a manager and you just manage a few people, great. If you're not a manager, you manage no one, but you want to develop the skills to be a good leader, it's a great book. I find that people naturally follow leaders, whether or not there's direct control or no control at all. And if you're a person with no one reporting to you, but you follow the habits of the book and you ask other people their opinions and you involve people in what you're doing, people will naturally gravitate to helping you. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so anybody in business will benefit, or for that matter, it doesn't necessarily even have to be about business. It just has to be about leadership.
So for the last 30 seconds here, what information, what message would you like to leave with the audience?
I guess if I was going to say one last thing to the audience, I would say that when I speak to organizations, my goal is to help those organizations move to the next level. And it's not just to motivate, because you can hire tons and tons of speakers that will go out and motivate people. It's about having them lead and remember and use those materials and tools. So when I talk about things like the 3 things and all these type of things, people are getting tangible things that will make a difference in their lives. And so many times people and organizations hear from a speaker that for that moment will make them feel really good. But the next day, when you ask them, "What did you learn?" or "What have you done from it?" and the answer is not much. And when I meet people 6, 8, 10 months later, a lot of my clients I speak to more than once, I constantly get people telling me, "I learned so much, I changed so much from my speeches." So I really, I would say what makes me really different is I'm an impact speaker. I'm somebody that will truly make an impact on an organization.
Okay, excellent. Now, Evan, if the listeners would like to contact your organization, find out more about the services that you provide, how can they do that?
My website is engagewithanI.net. So INGAGE.net. My book, Ingaging Leadership with an I, is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So if you want to just read the book, that would be a great place to go. And my phone number is 781-820-7609. And I would love to have anyone certainly go to my website and check it out. If someone wants to call and talk to me, give me a call. I'd be delighted to talk to you.
Excellent. Evan, thank you so much for coming on the show. That was very, very fascinating information that you shared with our listeners. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.